Today we're going to talk about rigging tools for the ground operations. All these different tools behind me are all tools that you can be asked to send up in a tree at any time, from either a worker climbing or a worker in a bucket truck. So understanding what the tools are, how they're utilized is key to understanding what tools call for, because there's nothing more frustrating than being up in a tree, asking for the tool that you need and being sent the wrong one. So some very simple tools we're going to look at rigging rings, porta wrap, rigging blocks, and different sling types as well. And I got a few other toys in my bag that we may talk about as well. So first thing you have to understand is the different types of slings, okay? So you got a multitude of slings, different ways you can wrap them, store them. This here is a dead-eye sling, meaning it has got a spliced eye on one end that has a ring on it. And then the other end is just a straight piece of line. This allows for many different configurations in the tree, as well as on the ground for redirects, for rigging points, and friction. Rigging rings have come on the market in the last few years and have really gained a huge following because they allow you to provide aerial friction to do whatever you're lowering, and it's manageable and consistent. The days of wrapping a tree or going through a natural union still occur, but these just tools allow you to have a little bit more manageable friction that you have a consistent control over. Most times I teach people with the rigging rings, the ring is worth about a half a turn on a regular large size porta wrap. What I have behind me is actually a small porta wrap. Good for small rigging material, also in tree rigging. The large porta wrap though has a little larger bend radius and a ring's about half a turn on a porta wrap. So this is a dead-eye sling. We also have slings like this one here. It's a whoopee sling, okay? It uses a Chinese finger trap to hold tension. So you pull on one end. As you can see, the sling gets smaller, or you can adjust it back the other way by pulling in the opposite direction. And once you get the desired direction and length that you wish, all you do is stretch the fibers out, and it acts as a Chinese finger trap that doesn't allow it to move. This is a double ring sling here. So now I've got two large rigging rings they can carry more weight, they have larger capacity. And this again, each one of these is worth about a half a turn on the porta wrap, so these two together are worth one full turn. This here behind me, so it's called a multi-sling. Unlike the dead-eye sling or the whoopee sling, this has got multiple different attachment points that you can put this ring back through and cinch down on your material or have it held tight on your material. So this is a rigging ring on a multi-sling. What you saw before was a dual rigging ring on a whoopee and a rigging ring on a dead-eye. You can also put, on dead-eyes, you can put rigging blocks. Biggest difference between an impact block or a rigging block and a ring is the block allows the rope to move. So you're not actually gaining that friction that you're gaining with the rigging rings that's worth about a half a wrap. You're actually lowering the amount of friction by having a movable pulley in place, a sheave here. All right? A lot of people misconstrue these as pulleys, and they're not. They're impact blocks because they have rounded edges all the way around. The material actually can be built, the system can be built where the material is above the block and dropped into it. Versus a pulley, you always want the pulley above your load. So make sure when you're rigging, use pulleys and blocks in the correct fashion. Pulleys go above your load, blocks can go above or below your load. What's nice about this big dead-eye sling here is it's very easy to take off if I need to change it out. It's got a big spliced eye on one end, dead-eye sling all the way around, and I can just cinch it down nice and easy and use this in the tree. Lots of different ways to tie these. My preferred technique is using a cow hitch or a timber hitch, and we'll go over those a little later. Here's another whoopee that's on a smaller scale, single ring, very adjustable, very movable. They also have things called loopies, which is actually the exact same thing, but in a big loop form. I don't have any of those with me today, but as you can see, it works the same way with the Chinese finger trap. The porta wrap is one of the most crucial devices we use in tree care for rigging. This allows us to manage friction from the ground or aloft in a manageable way. Generally speaking, on the large porta wrap size, not this small size, but the larger porta wrap size, each wrap is worth a certain value of friction. And that value of friction comes from experience, the material you're using, and the rope fiber you're using. I generally tell people, as a rule of thumb, it's between 100 to 150 pounds per wrap of friction that you're applying in the force. all right? Again, that's just a generalization. I wouldn't stick to that. Use your own experience, use your own knowledge base to figure out what works for you in your environment with the materials you're using. Slings can come in all different sizes, all different shapes. Here's another dead eye sling that's a very small dead eye sling here, with a very small ring on it. This here I use as a redirect in a tree, so this isn't a primary rigging point, but say I've got a piece that I know is gonna swing and I really don't want it to go swing over the fence. I want to swing, limited swing. I can apply this in by doing a simple running bowline around my material, like so. So this would slinch around the tree, and now I've got a floating redirect out here that can move laterally, can get started, but can only go so far. So this is a really good way if I know I'm gonna have a load that's gonna be going away from me, I can capture that load and stop it before it gets to a certain point and control its descent. Really great use of the dead eye slings is the ability to tie them in many different configurations: half hitch, cow hitch, timber hitch, closed clove hitch, or simple running bowline. Another device that came on the market from Buckingham a few years back is an ox block. This ox block is used in a positive rigging fashion where the load is below. The bar on the backside is actually used as a friction bar. So you can wrap this bar several times to apply friction. So this allows you to have friction in the tree, and I have it attached here to a loopy sling. So this loopy sling, like I talked about earlier, it's very much like the whoopee, except it's a big, round, consistent sling. Still adjustable with that Chinese finger trap technique, but this is just a difference between a whoopee and a loopy. One of the biggest questions I get asked is how to send material up the tree to a climber. So if you can imagine here, let's use this dead eye sling. Say this is our rope hanging down from the tree, okay? And I want to send up this large block here, or this large ring here on a dead eye sling. How do we attach this in a manner that's going to make it go up the tree, not come out and be able to get easy for the climber to use? All right. What I like to do with mine is I'll go ahead and tie the tail off so the tail doesn't unravel as it goes up the tree, doing 2 half hitches. Okay. Then through here I just put a bite. Right. And you can just simply tie a simple bowline here on a bite. And now this is going to allow the climber to pull this block up in a very secure fashion. Bowline on bite's not going to go anywhere. It's through the ring, everything's suspended. And in the event that this does come untied as it's coming through the canopy of the tree, so say all this got pushed down, which sometimes happens, worst case scenario you're going to have is the sling may undo itself, as so, but now you're still pulling the sling through the tree, through the canopy as a dead eye sling. You're not having the chance for it to get hung up as badly as if you'd had it come in, say, of a loop fashion, or where you've got a big old turn of rope like this where it's tied off in a fashion where you have a loop here where a branch can get caught in it. So this always keep things streamlined so they come up the tree nice and streamlined. Those are some of the simple rigging tools we use. There's lots of other rigging tools on the market, such as a GRCS, which is essentially a Harken winch that mounts the base of a tree. It can be used to lift material or lower material off a bollard. All right? And we'll look at those in future videos about how to apply those. They're a very specific device, and where these are really more the basic rigging tools that most crews have with them in every single day. For more information about your rigging tools, always consult your manufacturer. Also, you can consult the BMP for rigging that TCIA puts out, as well as some great footage out there from previous conferences about how to rig and great articles in the magazine you get every month. Thank you very much.